What is happening in our country is shocking, especially at events like the Notting Hill Carnival, where incidents of destruction and violence are on the rise. Where are the 7,000 police officers we were promised? Immigrants are out in the streets, with police standing by and observing. It seems like they're having fun, but is this the future we want? Look at the chaos on our streets. People standing on bus shelters, dancing and twerking as if it's all just a joke. Who's going to fix this mess now? And who will pay for the damages caused by such reckless behavior? We, as law-abiding citizens, feel a deep sense of frustration. This blatant disregard for public property and taxpayer money is a slap in the face to those who truly respect this country. Every year, the Notting Hill Carnival, a celebration of cultural unity, becomes overshadowed by rising crime and violence. It should be an event of joy and community spirit, but too often it turns into scenes of vandalism and disorder. If you agree, don't forget to like and subscribe to join our growing community. This chaos is becoming a regular occurrence. But why? Why do these immigrants show such blatant disregard for our community's rules and way of life? How do they even come up with the idea to climb onto a bus shelter and cause mayhem? It's all fun and games for them, but the rest of us are left picking up the pieces. And what about the police? Are they just standing by because they're afraid of being accused of discrimination? There's a clear double standard at play. If this were a different event or crowd, there would have been immediate arrests and public outcry. But here, the mainstream media stays silent. Why is that? Our police force has become more concerned with optics and political correctness than enforcing the law. People living in these communities are fed up. They see the mess, the violence, and the destruction year after year, and they're rightly angry. Why don't the police intervene? Why do they stay out of the headlines instead of protecting the public? Every year, we hear the same weak excuses and responses, and nothing changes. It's as if we've grown numb to the violence, as if it's just another part of the carnival experience. But we shouldn't accept this as normal. Look at the statistics for yourself. During these events, crime rates skyrocket. Assaults, theft, vandalism, it all increases, yet nothing is done. It's easier to blame the weather, the organizers, or anything else instead of addressing the real problem. And if you thought the bus shelter incident was bad, wait until you see the new billboards popping up across the UK, proudly thanking God for immigrants. Can you believe this? In the middle of an immigration crisis, we're bombarded with propaganda that seems to mock the tension and strain it's causing. Oh, and let's not forget, these posters aren't just harmless messages. They're part of a carefully orchestrated campaign by the Refugee Council to promote the rights of displaced youth, funded by individuals like artist Jeremy Deller and designer Fraser Muggeridge. Deller claims the idea came from conversations with people who hold anti-immigrant sentiments, highlighting how immigrants saved lives during COVID. But maybe, just maybe, people wouldn't feel so strongly if they didn't feel like their country was being invaded. Perhaps people just want to feel safe in their own nation. So why are these posters appearing now when immigration is such a hot topic and public services are already under strain? This isn't about raising awareness, it's about pushing an agenda that says, we're right and you're wrong. You should be grateful for what's happening. Enough is enough. Let's talk about the real impact of mass immigration. Rising crime, overwhelmed public services, and the erosion of our cultural identity. These are not just stories or statistics, these are real lives being affected. Yet, we see signs everywhere urging us to be thankful for immigrants. It's an insult. If you think this is just an isolated incident, look again. Groups of immigrants dressed in black roam freely through our streets without any police presence to hold them accountable. Why are they allowed to do this while law-abiding citizens are left to suffer? If 50 British citizens were causing this kind of trouble, you can bet there would be a swift and forceful response. Helicopters, riot gear, the whole 9 yards. But here, it's as if these individuals are untouchable. The double standards are glaring. One set of rules for them and another for the rest of us. Don't just take my word for it. Look at the facts. Look at how British citizens are treated by the police compared to immigrants. When it's immigrants, suddenly it's all about community understanding, as if they're incapable of following our laws. And in the end, it's the British public that suffers, the taxpayers, the people who obey the law. Take a step back and think about what's really happening here. Yes, crime and vandalism are major concerns, but this is about more than that. It's about the erosion of our national identity and sense of community. Look at the local festivals and gatherings that have been part of British society for generations, events that brought people together and strengthened our connections. Immigration has changed the character of our neighborhoods, clouding the traditions we once held dear. We can't even celebrate the Day of Pakistani or Albanian independence without it impacting our sense of community. Ask the people who have lived in these areas for their whole lives. They'll tell you how proud they once were of their neighborhoods, how everyone understood and respected each other, but now they feel like strangers in their own homes. Politicians often tell us that diversity is our strength, but who really benefits from these changes? The privileged residents of gated communities who remain unaffected by crowded classrooms, overwhelmed public services, and skyrocketing rents, or the ordinary people who feel more and more disconnected from their own communities. The reality is far more complicated than those in power would like us to believe. Many people feel like their neighborhoods are being destroyed, replaced by high-rises and chain stores that they can't compete with. They see a Britain that no longer feels like home. Remember when Keir Starmer stood before the nation, promising a fresh start, a commitment to tackling the problems facing ordinary Britons. He vowed to address inequality, improve public services, and bring transparency to government. But now he's failed. What do you think? Is it still possible to reverse the damage that's been done? Share your thoughts in the comments below.